Welcome to navigating these changing times, and they are changing by the moment. So most of you know me. I'm Prema Gurreri, solutionary.com, Vedic astrologer, soul advisor, and award-winning author. But really, I am just a soul with a heart and a deep purpose to serve. And I'm thrilled to also have one of my dearest friends, Kimberly Mcgeorge. And in fact, Kimberly, I was thinking about how we had met really on an interview. That's how we actually met, 5-6 years ago now. So Kimberly Mcgeorge is, I always call her a frequency master because she is that. She is a master of energy in many, many ways. She's just exquisite at helping people to balance their health, their well-being, but coming from a very energetic side and all the way down to a practical side. And she understands what's going on, I want to say, on energy levels that a lot of us don't get. And she's really great at bringing some of the more challenging and even darker sides of things to light, and so that we can understand them and to navigate them and not have so much fear around those things. So anyway, Kimberly, thank you for being here, and welcome.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited. And it's funny that you were thinking about how we first met, because I was thinking about it as well. And, we really clicked on, I think Prema was holding a telesummit. And it's just kind of ironic, you guys, because actually Prema and I then ended up going on to host a telesummit together, which is just like such a crazy world. But I wanted to share you really quick a story about Prema that after I'd been on her telesummit, I'd asked her to do a soul purpose reading for me. And for some bizarre reason, if you guys know me, this won't shock you, I wrote it down, the reading, on the back of a Discover bill. And I kept that Discover bill and kept finding it for like 6 and 7 years. And I've told Prema this over and over again. But each time I found that bill, I was blown away. And I know some of you guys know this because some of you are in her groups, but I was blown away. And some of you have had readings and read her books and have her cards. Hopefully you have her cards. They're beautiful. She has a couple of pictures behind her I see on the wall that are those cards. And we can talk about those in a minute too. But I just have to tell you guys, if you want just a really, even if you want to come in through that door and just start to get a taste, like those readings are just, if I could swear I would, but we'll say effing amazing. Like they totally, it is the best reading I have ever had by any astrologer. And I've had some pretty good astrologers, so Prema's just a wonderful person. She's able to move energy as well. She's a healer. She's an intuitive. And I was actually just talking to my daughter about you, Prema, because she's like, what are you guys doing? And I'm like, I just love Prema because I'm just being honest, you guys, I don't like to tackle business. You know this, Prema. But Prema is just so kick-A at intuitively business stuff and so much more. And I was just talking to someone today, and Prema knows about this on Facebook. And if you're here, welcome. And thank you for watching the replay or coming. But, when I think, business coach, I think Prema. I would never, ever, ever go to any other business coach in the entire world. And this is true. And Prema and I do bounce things off of each other about marketing. And it's not just that 3D view. Like she was saying about me and the dark side, Prema just has this insight into so much more, and she does so much more. But anyway, that's what I love about Prema, that she's just so great at helping people navigate all areas of their life. But I think, that's one of your specialty niches. She has many, but that's one.
Well, and it's really because I've been an entrepreneur for so many years, 30 something years, pretty much always have been an entrepreneur. But what I'm really passionate about is living from the inside out, creating from the inside out, and for people understanding what their gifts are, their purpose is. And there's a natural progression for everybody to want to move that out into the world. Not everyone does through a business. Maybe you're doing it through the work you're doing. Maybe you're doing it from being the amazing mom that you are. Maybe that you're a caregiver at this time in your life. Maybe you've chosen to maybe you're in that place where finances are handled. You don't, and maybe it's the foundation you want to start, or the book you want to write, or, there's always something that, you want to take that and serve and give with when we connect with, the deeper meaning of life. And so for some of us, it turns into business, but people, and this isn't all going to be a business conversation, but we just kind of went off on this tangent, but this is how Kimberly and I roll. We just roll with the energy. We want to show you how to work with this energy here. But part of it, people are really waking up to the fact that, wow, I don't know how long I have. If I don't know what it is inside me, I want to give, I want to find that. And I really want to, I think that we realize that, wow, nobody is going to turn this ship around. We've got to move this paradigm shift where we want to go. It's really hard to sit on the sidelines and feel like you don't know what to do or you can't do anything. And that's really what the essence of what we really want to talk tonight about. Fully get rolling here. I have been just tapping in with your energy, and since Kimberly mentioned the archetypes and the cards, and I just love the oracle cards. So the first card that comes up for us tonight is the Mystic, and I love the Mystic. And this is, I'm spiritually wealthy. And when I talk about sacred wealth, I talk about, what you need to feel wealthy is very unique to you. It's where your purpose and your prosperity come together. And spiritual wealth is of high value to me, actually, in the way my soul blueprint is wired up, much more than material wealth, although I need material wealth to function here in this plane. But the Mystic wants us to go deep inside and is always looking for, what do we need to let go of in order to live closer to the divine? What do we need to let go of? And so that's just the question you can all take from the Mystic tonight is, wow, what do I need to let go of? Do I need to let go of, being on my phone 24/7 to be closer to the divine? Do I need to let go of, the fear I've got about something? Do I need to let go of, the ways that I beat myself up and say, I don't know how, or I can't, or maybe you're, walking somebody, trying to walk a path that's not yours. What do you need to let go of in order to be closer to the divine? So that's the Mystic, always wanting less is more, less is more. And then I'm just going to do one more card for us, and then I love this. So this is the South Node of the Moon, K2. The Mystic is, and then we've got the King here, Leo. And in Vedic astrology, it's slightly different than Western astrology as far as where the planets are at any given time. And if you look up in the heavens, they are where we say they are in the sidereal zodiac, which is Vedic astrology. And it's just a different viewpoint. And this the King is the sun, and the sun's moving into Leo in the middle of the month here, and this is, I powerfully lead my mission. And that's what I really is so near and dear to my heart. I can't live without feeling like I'm on mission at some level. And that's even if I'm in my garden. What am I on mission? I just planted my fall garden. The mission here is to keep us in really healthy, yummy, nurturing food as much as I can. But anyway, because this is coming into play middle of August through middle of September, the sun, the King, is in the house, and that's what's going to be happening here. And for all of us, I've been talking to my groups about, we have this call to a deeper sense of leadership, and we're all leading something. That's, whatever you're doing in your life, you have some kind of a movement that you are leading. And it's important that we all step up into a different level of authenticity. The collective is craving that, even if they don't know that. Everyone's BS meter is turned up high, and there's so much. I think this is a great place for us to jump in, Kimberly, because there is so many mixed messages coming that people tend to be really, it's jamming everybody's circuits right now in a really big way.
I just wanted to kind of piggyback on your cards by coming in through my door, which is frequency panels and technology. And I just pulled up for the collective of the call and everyone who watches the replay. And I wanted to share the bottom things. It's just kind of like you pulling the energy of the cards.
Yep.
And one of the things that's coming up for this group is amplify positive feelings, which is going with what you're saying, Prema, of inner joy, compassion, and 528, which is love hurts. And that's just like, this group is screaming for that. So what that tells me is also what I'm seeing, which is a deep-seated, not just fear, but I want you guys, and Prema, you can help us. Prema's going to do a process later on, which is, I'm sure, going to partially address this by connecting, I believe you're going to do something with the heart or ascended heart.
Yes. Yeah.
Rage is beneath it. to me, you know, a lot of people say fear is beneath the rage, but what we're seeing consistently when we're running scans, Prem, and I want to know your thoughts on this. We're seeing a lot of rage. Where do you think that's coming from, and how does that fit in with what's going on today?
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit planetary level as well here, because several different levels. So there's that level of people feel like they can't do anything, or they can't do what they want to do, and feel like their freedom, like really at some level, feel like their freedom has been taken away at some level, where it probably has for a long time, but now it's like in front of us and it feels really acute. There's this energy working with Mars that has been actually for a while, and in like in the protest kind of energy. And Mars is really the honorable warrior. It's the it is, and it takes its direction from the divine, but it doesn't always. So if it's not well aspected, it is going to come up in anger and rage. And that's because it feels like we have our hands tied in some ways, whether you can't go where you want to go, or, you don't have the job that you had, or, just your freedom of choice at some level. And then I think we're all really tapping into the fact that, there's so much deconstruction going on right now, which needs to happen. We're in a paradigm shift, and I don't mean to make light of that, but things have to change, and they're not going to change without the breakdown. And there's this we've allowed ourselves to feel really restrained and feeling powerless at some level. And I think that's a lot of the place where the rage is coming from. What I want to encourage people to is have your emotions. Absolutely. Don't hurt anybody else while you're having them. You don't want to have anything too pent up, but at the same time, I'm really about standing up for what you're for instead of pushing what you're against. Because if you're pushing at what you're against, you're actually feeding that. And that doesn't mean, there's a difference between, I was explaining this to someone yesterday, being at a protest and really holding the energy and standing in what you're for. You're actually on an energetic level helping to create that, and you're bringing it right down here through your body in 3D. But if you're at a protest and you're just pushing against the other side, you're literally taking your energetic currency and just feeding it there. And then you end up super drained. And then we end up realizing that at some level and then getting even more angry.
Absolutely. I call that power standing.
Yes.
It's really going down into that third chakra, and also standing behind yourself. If you can understand and imagine yourself standing anywhere, protests or anywhere else, and then imagine yourself standing behind yourself, it's like kind of going around with like this energetic bodyguard, and nobody is coming to save you, and nobody can protect you like you. And when we realize that, life becomes super exciting. And I love what you just said too, Prema, because things have to, it's the end of the age, absolutely have to fall apart so they can come together. And like you always talk about how the planetary things, mirror and mimic a lot of things. And that also, the big collective also mirrors in each one of us. Where are the places in you that have to fall apart? And this is a great time. You can't go to as many restaurants. You can't, pack in the bars. You can't go to the concerts. You can't go to the sporting events. You can't engage in all those distractions that they kept us busy with for thousands and thousands of years. So you have no excuse. This is the time. And I think the planets support this. You can tell me about that, Prema. But I think, some of the planetary configuration actually supports this going within and this sitting, and kind of not really analyzing, but really just, like Prema said, don't let your emotions become destructive. But there's nothing wrong with getting really, really emotional and letting all that crap go permanently, not to take it back on again when the world really was never normal, but if the world ever gets back to what you consider normal, don't take that back on. Just let it go, right? Is there anything supporting us to that?
Totally. And there's two things I want to touch back on. One of them is the emotional piece, and the other one is the third chakra energy. So don't let me forget to come back to the third chakra, because I'm so with that power standing, that you teach as well. So, okay, what was the first one I just said? Not the
emotions, I think.
Oh, thank you. There's just so much packed right in there. So I'm a firm believer and teach that you manage your emotions, or your emotions are going to manage you, and really teach that to my empaths in a really big way. I'm an empath. I tend to attract them. we can let our emotions run us. We need to have them and make sure that we let them flow through appropriately. But once we do a clearing, if we need to do that purge or that clearing, whether that's crying, whether that's raging, whatever that might be, or whether that's really deeply loving, it goes across the spectrum. It's fully expressive. But our emotional energy in this 3D realm is that connection point of vibration, and where we're going to, attract. And I don't mean just the kind of the law of attraction, but it is where we're going to vibrate with something. And so you get to choose how you want to feel as well, instead of letting yourself get battered around. That takes practice. I'm not saying that's super easy, especially when things are challenging. That takes meditation. That takes getting still. And the planets are absolutely supporting us. Where Saturn is and is going to be for another 2.5 years, and Capricorn really wants us to come into that focus and stillness, and then help us rebuild and restructure things. So, really being aware of your emotional energy. And, you might have that rage, but where could you channel that into your passion for moving yourself forward? Where could you channel that, into something that's, constructive for yourself? And I also want to say, I get it. It's not easy right now. Kimberly and I, we bounce back and forth. Oh my gosh, this week feels like a roller coaster. Okay. And so you've got to ride there's going to be the ups and downs, and have to ride the energy, and you need to have some support in doing that. The other thing I wanted to circle back to around the power standing, and what you said about you need to stand behind yourself. And this is something I so firmly believe in. And again, I can't help it, but teach this in a big way. And it has to do with the being seen piece, because most of us really want to be seen for our gifts. And we have a real fear of being seen, mostly because of our traumas and just the way we naturally came out, with our gifts, and got pushed down in some way. And a lot of your gifts that you're just so amazing with, and you're just so gifted with, are unseen. And so those unseen gifts, whether you're a great problem solver, or you're deeply intuitive, or you just know how to give someone just what they need to help them take that next step, all these energetic gifts with which, or you're just the way you know how to lead, or know how to heal. Well, a lot of times you're looking for the outside recognition that someone's seeing those gifts, and you have to embody that so much, stand behind yourself, really be that beacon of that gift, which is your natural, it's yours, it's your gifts, it's your natural birthright. But you've got to, let go of those patterns and those old traumas, and that's why we have to do a lot of clearing to do that, so you can stand in for yourself. And it's important to have other people that that's a safe place to trust, so that you can try that out, and you're not just feeling so naked out in the world as you're stepping into those new gifts. How do you feel about that, Kimberly?
I really like that. And I know you see that birth code reflected in the planets. I come in through another door, which I love how it always fits together. There's many macro and micro pieces of the whole, of the holographic whole in the universe, which is really cool. But I come in through the genetics, through the actual DNA. And what you're talking about, what Prema's talking about, I'm going to say a little differently another way, which is we come in and we can either be the expression of our genetic, whether it's realized or unrealized, seen or unseen, DNA gifts at a low level, or as we clear, as Prema said, as we integrate, as we expand, as we stand behind ourselves, as we clear the trauma and all of that, we start, those gifts become refined. And so that dark side, or the shadow side, which also I know you teach a lot about and talk a lot about, and how to deal with that and utilize that, and how that can be a powerful thing and not a negative thing. But that flips. And then what it becomes is the very high expression, and who we usually look to, which I don't necessarily believe in, which is a guru. But those are the gurus that we, the ones that die and they smell like roses, and they just have this huge, huge high frequency. And that's locked, that coding, not just the shadow coding, but the highest expression is locked into your genetics and your DNA, just waiting for you to activate and flip that switch. Just like we talk about all the physical things you guys can, flip your switches on and off on. And a lot of that's activated by what we're going through now, stress. And so it's very important. And this is one thing I love that I know Prema is offering is, and a lot of people offer, but Prema does it well. She offers a safe place in a group, in a family. I call it a family, a spiritual family, a safe place. You mentioned safe place, to come and learn, not just learn, but that safe place to heal. And I think that's, so important.
It's so important that we have support. And I'm even noticing in the chat where some people are saying that they don't feel like they have that support right now. So Kimberly and I always want to bring things down to the practical and give you everything we can, because this is about, navigating these changing times. So, I just want to recap a little bit. One of the things that we talked about was this, having to stand in for yourself, and power standing and standing for yourself. And really standing into your gifts gives you the ability to do that, and needing a safe place to do that, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. But one of the things that I find really useful is, as far as power standing goes, is whatever. First of all, you have to be willing to pull in enough to be in your own energy. Okay. So we could actually do this in very simply in a few breaths, just breathing into the heart. Even I think of the heart, and I know Kimberly has her own way of describing this. I call it the heart core. So I think the heart, if you were to draw like the traditional heart, and on your chest, and the very bottom of it lands down in your third chakra, which is down in your solar plexus, because this is the bridge between our inner world and our physical world. Those bottom three chakras, the first, second, and third, that's our density that's here in the physical world. And then everything above that, heart and above, is our internal and our spiritual nature. That's all unseen. It's super malleable. But you know how, like, when you say, okay, well, I didn't do that thing, like my heart just really wasn't in it. There's a lot of truth to that, because if your heart isn't in it, you won't cross that bridge to the density where it really takes, where you have to get into that confidence and that self-esteem. So you're empowering your world instead of your world, batting you around so much. So I just want to acknowledge that is it's like stepping from, the most free place in the world into, sometimes it feels like cement. So I call this the final frontier, the flesh, because we're so much malleable in our energy. But once we step into like doing something, being something, that is a lot harder. And especially right now with a lot of our usual structures, and some of them we needed to let go of, that are pulled away. So deep, full breaths into the belly. You might say, oh, that sounds so simple, but are you doing it? That's the thing. Most of it's foundational and simple. I'll do a heart process with you later on at the end of our time together today to help you really get into that heart space. But, even a hand on the heart, hand on the belly, a couple of deep breaths, you got to come back into your skin. Kimberly, and I know we're spending a little bit more time on power standing, but it's really important because everybody's feeling so disempowered. I'm reading the chat right here. People are really struggling with this.
You brought up a couple of really great points about the body. So, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, when I first started teaching, I taught a lot about how to go out of the body, and I still do, don't get me wrong, how to astral travel, how to remote view. But, a number of years into my practice, I kind of stalled spiritually, emotionally, my gifts. And I realized I was completely wrong. Here in 3D, which is where we are, no matter how much you want to be in 14D or 22D or 72D, or I always say laying in a poppy field, laying at the sky for the rest of my life, wherever you guys want to be, we're here. And because we're here, you've been gifted or not. Maybe you don't consider it gifted, it doesn't really matter, but you have this avatar. You have this beautiful fleshly machine. And the power in 3D to reach outside of 3D and the all and go back to the void with creation energy, you have to fully possess the body. And that's where I was so wrong. So that breath and that heart connection that Prema is talking about isn't optional. It's not an opinion, it's a fact. And it's crucial. And a lot of people right now, and I love that you brought this up, Prema, including awake, spiritual, evolved, high frequency people, are escaping their body more than ever. They don't want to feel that fear. They don't want to feel the rage. They don't want to feel the pain. And I really want to tell you guys, you don't have to do any of this perfectly. You just have to take action and, I don't want to say live in the moment because that sounds trite, but you know, my daughter and I talk a lot, Prema and I talk a lot, my friends and I, my clients and I talk a lot about all this fear and what's going to happen and what timeline, which timeline are we on, what's happening with the world. And Prema's really good at giving you like the big framework, you know, with the planetary alignments and her wisdom and her intuition. But all that being said, no matter how much Prema and I can read timelines and connect to the planets or connect to DNA or whatever we do, you guys, like you're here now and now and now. And so I encourage you to do the next thing, whatever that is for you. And then the next thing, and then the next thing. And you know what? If you guys, and I just want to mention this really quick, I want to get your opinion on this. So I don't know, I shouldn't have, but occasionally I watch the news. I was watching all the videos of those cell phones, you know, filming the blast in Beirut. And so one minute this person's alive, and the next thing they're dead on the floor and someone's picking up their cell phone. So, I mean, we just don't know. So the only way to live is live fully powerful, connected with your chakras, clearing out your trauma. And I want to say from the technology that we use, we see the biggest trauma isn't after you were in a car accident or you went through a divorce or your pet died. The biggest trauma is when you wake up in the morning. I want you to think about that. And we're not going to go into why, that's a whole other story. But use essential oils, use the breath work. Prema teaches, do you teach breath work in your groups?
Oh, yeah.
You do. I'm sure she gives lots of tips of how to process and release. I know she does processes. She's going to do a process tonight. So please stay with us till the end. But that trauma just has to leave. Turn off the nervous system and release the trauma.
Turning off. So when you said, you know, do the next thing that's in front of you, something that's near and dear to my heart is taking inspired action. And what I mean by that is we tune into our hearts. We'll do this later in the call. We tune into our hearts. We find out, you know, what our heart wants for us. And then we end up with an inspired action that our soul gives us. So it's always 100% doable. Your soul will never give you something that's not doable. And it's doable for the next step, because every step you take opens up a different set of choices. And you really only need to know it's nice to know the overarching, and the astrology and everything is great for giving us that. And knowing what your wealth code is great for giving us that. But you can drive from San Diego to New York in the fog at night, and you can get there because you may only see 20 feet in front of the car. But if your lights are on and you're very present, which actually calls us to be really present when things are like that, then you will see what you need to see when you need to see it. So when we're willing to take that inspired action, and all of you, I bet all of you right now know an inspired action that you need to take. Mm-mm. And I'd love for you to go ahead and add that into the chat if you're watching this later, and make sure, you know, send us a note. But because you already know, but it's a matter of how do you close that gap? Because I know you're all really conscious beings, but one of my big missions is helping you conscious ones close the gap between what you know and what are you actually doing and being. Because we actually have to fully be here. We have to be in our skin. And like Kimberly was talking about, like if you're not even in your body, then guess what? Your body, your energy system, that part of your energy system is actually being occupied and being used by other energy. Not only from your past can really live more presently then, but all this other misinformation and, you know, ways you can be, you know, vampired, so to speak, and all happens then. So this is your home. You need to occupy it. And I totally get it when it's really painful too, because of stuff you've gone through. And that's where the clearing comes in, because and I'm super I mean, I do clearings and such, but for people, but also I'm really super passionate about empowering you and teaching you processes that you can pick up and consistently do so you're empowered to clear yourself as well.
I'm just reading the chat. Someone said that you encouraged them to take inspired action and it changed everything. So that's awesome. Oh, I love that. I feel called to take a walk in the rain instead of sheltering from it. I like that. But that's the kind of thing I think that we're led to do. And we don't know what happens on that walk in the rain, or what inspiration might come, or idea, or person we might meet, or I don't know. It's just nourishing those things. I also want to call you guys into, and again, this is could be a million teachings, and I know you'll have something to add, but I really see repeatedly a lack of and it comes up in the app too, self-love and self-nurturing on a really high level. You guys, even for me with all my gifts and being in the work for so long, and I don't know, Prema, maybe you can chime in on this. She may be a little more advanced in it than me, but it was only 2 years ago that I woke up for the first time and I sat up in bed and I thought, you know what, I'm a good person. I really like myself. Like it took, and I'm not young, you guys, so it took like 50 years to get to that point where I embodied. You were talking about embodying these things so we can chatter, self-love, self-love, self-nurture. But in times like these, where there's so much fear in the collective and in our bodies, and there always has been, but it's up. It's bringing up, whether it's planetary, I think planetary, you said, Prema, it's bringing it up. The collective is bringing it up, maybe in a more intense way. And I think there's a call for not just action, it's like a deeper saturation of real self-love. And how many of you can really, I mean, it took me 50 years. Can you guys say out loud right now, I adore myself. I love myself. Can you say that? And with no checks, no hesitation, no catch. And I think, again, that's where a group, a family, a spiritual family that accepts you with no judgment and loves you and encourages you, and people that mentor you is so crucial. Some of us don't have the support. You guys were saying in the chat, we don't have the support in our birth families or our communities always, or even
That's so true. Like you know, you didn't necessarily grow up with, some of you did, and that's really a wonderful thing. I didn't have it in my family. I was the kid who was farmed out. I lived on my own at a very young age. But before that, I lived with my grandmother and my aunt a lot. And they had the time to just, they just loved me. And that helped, you know, and that helped me. But, you know, we don't all get that from somewhere. And in fact, I know, God, and when I tap you guys, I know some of you have been through some really, really tough stuff. Part of the deconstruction that's going on in this, I don't want to call it crazy. It's so mixed right now, and it's so chaotic, and it's so, in a way, right on target, and so completely off the map. And then that's all happening at one time. The time is moving super fast and it's at a standstill. I mean, and that's why you're feeling all of this. So at all costs, you've got to find ways and to be able to pull in, get aligned and get centered, and know what's true for you, and be able to feel through what's not true. And one by one, in fact, I have a cord releasing process for this. You need to unplug from those, and also information sources. That's why I say, put this down. Put your phone down, get off your computer, get your feet on the ground, like literally your bare feet on the ground. You need to ground. Also, your microbiome will love you being outside, breathing in, and having your feet on the ground. You have to come back home, and there is more chaos going on and more distraction now than ever. And it's like there's so many different forces lobbying for your attention, and each of it is like okay, you only have let's just say you only have $100 of energetic currency every day when you wake up in the morning. And you know, how much of it are you giving it away to, you know, your fears and your beliefs you know about? Then there's the ones you don't even know about. Then there's the ways that maybe you're not taking care of yourself, you know, that you should be and you're not. Then you are all the, you know, stuff you're reading on the media, the stuff you're buying into, the ways you're wasting your time, your energy, complaining. All these things are using up your energetic currency, and maybe you need to heal right now, and then you're bankrupt at the end of the day, or maybe you're bankrupt, you know, early in the day. What I want you to know in this changing time is that your energetic currency matters. And it matters, not only like it matters, but energy comes into matter in this domain. It turns into matter. It matters. So how you're feeling will end up mattering. It'll end up being something in your life, and we don't want it to be something that you have to heal later. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And speaking of that, I really want to, we've been seeing also on the physical plane, a lot of serious dehydration. I don't know if it's the MF, the 5G. You guys can also check the Schumann resonance charts. There was like a big whiteout for 5 or 6 hours today where the frequency goes to the roof, and that can be, you know, kind of dry you out. But we really encourage you to hydrate is more important. Just, you know, people are actually seeing changes in their hair and changes in their skin. Hydration is really important, not only in stressful times, but in high energy, good and bad, you know, both kinds of energy times. So we really want to get everybody's, and it's funny because everyone's like, I drink tons of water, but it doesn't matter how much water you drink or what liquid you drink if it's not getting through the outer cell wall into the inner cell wall where it can really nourish. So I keep coming back to that, you know, anything that nourishes you are, again, I think things that we need to be focused on. And it's not wrong to nourish and love and care for others, but so many of you, it feels like in this group especially, are caretakers. So just take a little of that care, like Prema said, a little of that energy currency that you're, you know, giving away. And some of you look like you have a successful business, maybe as healers and teachers and coaches and the, you know, real world bankers and all sorts of things out there. But, you know, turn some of that currency in and nourish yourself, you know, and it's not wrong every couple of days to say, oh my goodness, I haven't done anything for myself. What would nourish me today? Or what could I plan to do that would nourish me this weekend? Again, doesn't have to be away, doesn't have to be vacation, doesn't have to be money. I mean, I made a, you know, beautiful meal for myself. I'm single and I took the time, 2 hours, and made this beautiful meal, and it felt so good. I mean, literal nourishment, but also it felt so loving to do that, take the time and do that for myself. So think about that.
Nourishing is such a rich word. Thank you for bringing that up. So Kimberly just gave you some examples of nourishing yourself. And I want you to really be honest with yourself. How much are you nourishing yourself right now? Because she's absolutely right. More than ever, we need to be nourishing ourselves, because again, it's like our energetic currency is being lobbied for it at every moment. And that's why you're so depleted. That's why you're so exhausted. And also the other thing is when we know we're not doing what we really need to be doing, our soul wants us to be doing, and doing, I'm going to use doing / being, because it's really about being, and then doing comes after that. So whether it's the food, whether it's the, you know, the water, whether it is, you know, that deep breath, whether it's time in meditation, whether it, you know, some of you are probably starved for affection right now too, and touch with, you know, if you're not with other people and you're not seeing people face to face, and you're not being able to, thank you for putting in the minerals there. Yeah. To help absorb, you know, so that's a, you know, and maybe you don't even have a pet, and that, you know, so maybe that's the, you know, maybe that's just even taking a moment and really even, you know, in touching yourself, laying on the ground. I find laying on the grass, you know, laying on the ground, feeling, you know, getting some kind of touch. You know, human babies don't live without touch. Kimberly, I'd love for us to speak into, I know we're kind of getting on time here, but love us to speak into, I guess these are the words that are coming, so I have to listen to them. The pain of not stepping into, you know, your calling at some level. And I'm seeing that with people, the dial turned up to a, you know, just like exponentially right now, that it feels, here it is, a time to hard to even take care of yourself in some ways, or maybe you're, you know, you've lost a lot during this time. And then, but at the same time, we've, you know, if you're not stepping into what's for you, if you don't know what it is, that's a painful thing. But also when you know what it is and you're not actually, for whatever reasons, able to take the next steps on that, that's pretty excruciating. And the number one suggestion and is the inspired action piece, and we'll come to that in the process. But that's one of the beautiful things about knowing what your gifts are and just picking one and making sure that you're using it. You know, you can pick one a day, one a month, one a week. And if you are actually using your gifts and you don't necessarily even know where, or maybe you don't have the wherewithal to like say, okay, well now I have this great gift and I don't know exactly what to do with it. Whatever you're already doing in your life, whether you're parenting, whether you are, you know, that you have a current position, a job that you're doing, just use that gift. And it'll start, you'll have a deeper sense of like, oh yeah, there is a deeper sense of meaning, which will then add, you'll start to get pulled forward even more so from that. Kimberly, I'd love you to speak into that too.
Yeah. So my belief is we're living in the end of an age. It's not the end, but we're like heading rapidly toward that. So many people have been taken off planet, older people, younger people, all countries, all races, all, you know, income brackets. And I believe that the people, especially the awakened ones, the higher frequency beings, and you wouldn't be here if you weren't, the
Thank
ones
you.
that are left have a high calling, not to put you into fear or panic, because we don't want to add to that whatsoever. But you are here in your being for a reason. And I believe that we can change timelines. I believe that we have an inverse, your own song to sing, and that by singing your own song and singing that loudly and clearly and powerfully in whatever expression you can, as Prema said, that changes the mass consciousness and the timeline and the reality, and that it doesn't have to end the way that it's been scripted by the dark side or the cabal, whatever you want to call them. There's actually many factions, but we don't have to run their scripts. And you actually can live inside your own verse, you know, created out of fire creation deep inside of you. And, you know, that's what Prema helps you do. And that's what she helps you discover. And that's what this beautiful group that she's created, you know, also supports you in. What do you think about that?
Yeah. And so, as Kimberly mentioned, that, you know, remember the collective, that we're the collective. So if we want to shift the collective, we shift ourselves and whoever we can affect with our gifts, with our energy, our song that we need to sing around us. You know, the collective isn't something out there. We're part of it. And you did choose to be here at this incredible and excruciating time. And you are all, yeah, I mean, it makes me emotional when I really tap into, you know, the group we have. You are so powerful. You are incredibly powerful. And I know it's tough going right now, but we're who are going to make that big ripple here. And there's a bigger group of us, so to speak, than we even know. But we've got to come together and we need to support each other. And remember that it's not that you can make a difference. You can make a shift here. You actually have way more power than maybe you believe you have because of everything telling you that no, you don't have the power.
Absolutely. And you guys are super precious and super magical, you know, looking at your energy and just everything amazing. And you deserve to take this time. And if it costs some money, which is energy, you deserve to do things for yourself. And you know who Ramit is, right? Do you know who Ramit is? He wrote that. Did he write that book, Teach Me to Be Rich? He's like, you guys can look it up or Google it.
Wait,
But
say
he's
the author's
conscious.
name again.
His name's Ramit, and he has this book, I Can Teach You to Be Rich, and it's like a bestseller. It's ancient. It just has good money principles. But I love one of the things he says, and I talk about a lot with my groups. He says, no money that you ever spend on education, changing careers, taking a class, you know, crystal class or whatever, learning new things, joining a conscious family community is ever wasted. So he's, you know, that is what we're talking about, nurturing and investing in yourself. And you know, it makes me weep, and I know this is true of your group too, but people have gone without food to take my classes. Why? You know, it's kind of like the biblical thing. No matter what your religion is, there's this nourishment, right, from community. There's this nourishment from wisdom. There's this magic that happens when highly enlightened beings come together in a group and love and support each other. And I know that your group, people were talking about coming to your home. I know your group has become family. I know it has. I mean, I may not be in that group, but I know you guys, and some of you could speak to that, are family, and the same with my groups, but I know that. So Prema, because of the times that we live in, has come up with a very temporary but very sweet and loving offer to invite you to become part of this family, her family. And what is that, Prema?
That's the Sacred Wealth Circle. This is where we focus primarily on the inner growth, is what I call it. This is living from the inside out, but this is where we learn how to take those inspired actions, where we come into the practices on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis, to really do what I'm talking about, support our energies. This is where we know what our gifts are, and we start to take them on and realize where we're in our shadow, and we have the tools to clear that, where we've got lots of different types of meditations and processes and monthly trainings and conversations. I call them masterminds with me and the whole community together monthly, so that we can come together and support each other, and also what's the current energy very specifically, and how do you use your gifts, and whether we're working on I'm going to have a training called Mastering the Art of Being. Like, we have to learn how to come in and actually be. We need to learn how to manage our masculine and feminine energy. What is real authenticity? We go deeply into being seen and how to get over the fears of being seen. What does it mean to be seen? And we actually have a way to practice that in a safe environment and support to take that out into the world any way you want to. All the different trainings that you may need. And everything that we do is always interactive. It's always asking you to come in and get the answers straight from your soul with just precisely crafted questions. And so that you can walk through a progression and actually make a transformation, and then end up in a different place, and then play with a whole new set of skills, so that you can navigate yourself, know this amazing apparatus of you. And whether that's, you want to use that to help you in your work in the world, but first we've got to we need to master this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so because you guys were invited to our group, and we could talk for hours on how to help. And it is a timed offer, and it will end after, I believe, is it 72 hours? I think my notes say.
Working
And
on
it
that.
is absolutely it's a super, super amazing deal. I think she's giving a 50%. Again, always better if you can just bite the bullet, flip out 997, go for it. And then you have this amazing thing you can just lay back, or, you can take little bites and, still join up for 12 monthly payments of 97. But this is the kind of thing, and I'm going to say from my experience with Prema, and she and I are over deliverers. So whatever she says, you get all this stuff, 12 monthly models of sacred wealth trainings, processes, meditations. I mean, that value alone is probably half of the, Sacred Wealth Code reading. I shared my experience with that, Facebook group with coaches. Always nice to have that daily interaction, monthly mastermind calls. She was talking about that, monthly astrology, current energy updates. You also need to subscribe to her YouTube channel, where she also does them over there. Wealth, dream, and purpose training, soul wisdom, meditation. Like, all this is great. I'm telling you, you're going to get more, because I don't know, it's probably in our DNA, but we are over delivers. I know Prema's an over deliverer too, so you're going to get more. She's going to do surprises. She's going to bring in other people. She's going to bring in new coach. She's going to do more. So, that's the fun thing. This is this is organic. This is a sensitive to these times. So as the times changes, the energy changes. Prema morphs with that and adjusts her teachings and her groups so that she can fully support you. So
I just threw the link in the chat.
But so there's a link if you're interested in joining, and more information. She also has other opportunities if you're interested. Again, I'm just going to say this because I do believe she's excellent also at this niche, which is helping you navigate, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a CEO of a company, or wondering, next directions. She can help with marketing. She can help with current energy. So she is really great. And also, can you tell them just really quick before we do our process, hang in there, getting to the process. Can you tell them really quick about the Business Academy?
Yeah. If you're wanting to take your gifts and move them out in the world in business, or you've got a business that's just not fully aligned, or you want to explore what that would be for you, then I would encourage you to check out the Sacred Wealth Code Business Academy. And I'll drop that link in here in just a moment. So hang in with me. And we do the inner growth in the Sacred Wealth Code Business Academy, but we've got some one-on-one time together. We've got coaches to help you. We're going to really help you at every step of the way with trainings and such, but also, connecting with you to support you individually in different ways to help you birth, or help you to shift, or maybe move from your career to whatever you're moving to, or maybe it's something more like, a book you want to put out in the world, or all of that. You get full support on not only how to do that, but to do the growth you need to do along the way, because having a business is definitely a spiritual transformation. It is absolutely a spiritual transformation, and you will come up against every part of yourself. And it's really good to know that, to have a roadmap through that. And especially, I tend to attract a lot of transformational entrepreneurs, and I believe that the strategy is within you, and you need to listen to that, and we pull that through you. So we construct it so that it's really the way you do business and the way you attract, clients or customers, whatever. It's unique to you, and we unhook you from some of the traditional marketing that really is just costs you your time and your energetic currency and your money, and doesn't really bring you what it is you need.
All right. So anything else you want to wrap up and say? You guys hopefully will think long and hard about taking advantage. It is a 72-hour offer for that first offer. So take your time and think about it, but don't think too long. And there will be a replay, correct, Prema?
Yes, there will be a replay. And then I'll just reiterate that I was just really called to offer the Sacred Wealth Circle and just make it half price for those of you. I know some of you have been struggling right now, and I really want to support you. So it's $97 monthly, or it is $9.97 for the whole year. And it's normally twice that. And even that's, in my opinion, a deal for the twice that. But I just really felt called to, I want to do everything I can for you guys and to support you right now. And I have the luxury of being able to. So I'm really grateful for that.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And great comments in the chat from I assume people that are already involved with you. So that's really cool too. So I really enjoyed you guys. I'm Kimberly Mcgeorge, Secret to Everything. And I really enjoyed my time with you. Thank you, Prema, for allowing me to be here and be in the moment and be in the energy. This is a beautiful, wonderful, amazing, talented group. You guys are precious. And, I'm just very in gratitude for being here. I'm going to sit back and sign out and let Prema do a lovely, beautiful, amazing process. So thanks again. You guys have a good night.
Thank you, Kimberly. Much love to you. So everyone, we're going to just take a few minutes, and we are going to do a process to get you connected with your heart, with your truth. We didn't talk a lot about trust tonight, but it's a huge issue that's up as well. And I want you to be able to really trust yourself. This will just be a few minutes. I want you to get comfortable. I want you to close your eyes and just start to put your attention on your breath. You're going to walk away with an inspired action for yourself. This is a core practice that came to me, downloaded years ago, like much of my work has, and it's just my honor to be able to share with you today and get you one more step along the path. So put your hand on your heart, close your eyes, take some deep full breaths. And when you're taking deep full breaths, you're going to actually feel your body move with that breath. You're going to feel your belly move. You're going to feel your chest rise, and give yourself the grace of this moment. Deep full breath into your belly. As you start to feel your heart, your beautiful heart, this is the portal to your soul. This is also your connection with all that is, and it's so accessible to you in every single moment. You have a brilliant mind, and it is a busy mind, and it is hooked in a lot of different directions, and it's super brilliant, and it's an amazing, amazing tool. But we can't let it lead the show. We need that deep wisdom of your heart to lead your mind, to be that leader of that amazing tool of your mind. So together, we're going to marry them. I want you to take a deep, full breath. Imagine you have a slide between your head and your heart, or a stairway, and you're going to make a journey down. I'll energetically walk you there, so don't worry about it. It's going to happen. All the way down through your nasal cavity, the top of your throat, the base of your throat, the top of your chest, right down into the very center of your chest. Take a deep breath. Allow yourself to land in your heart. And it's almost like there's one more staircase, one more slide. I want you to take another deep breath. We're going to go down even deeper into the heart, down into the core of the heart. Take another deep, full breath. And just let yourself open up. Just like a light getting brighter, a flower coming into full bloom. Just let yourself open up. You deserve this moment. You deserve the grace this moment has for you. Your beautiful heart, your deep, wise soul has everything you need right now for you as far as information, as far as the next step for you to take. So as you allow yourself to feel the grace of the field of the heart, which resonates on this amazing fabric of the universe, I'm going to tune in with your heart, just like I'm throwing a pebble into the pond of your heart. I want to invite you to let this question drop in. There'll be more than one. And I ask them in a specific way because it's the back door to the soul. First question: if I did know what it is that my heart so wants for me right now, just so wants for me, what might that be? Take a deep breath. Your internal language is yours and yours alone. It may be visual, it may be feeling, it may be actual words, it may be a combination of all that. Trust whatever it is. What's your heart really just so wanting for you at this very pivotal time in your life, in all of our lives? Wow, that's great. Notice how you guys can all take a deeper breath now. Just having that truth rise up. We're just going to hold the frequency of truth here for a moment. And just let yourself really feel into what's come up for you. This is your heart. This is your soul. It wants this for you. Because it's possible. It's not out of reach. And if you were to have this, be this, do this, whatever's come up for you, whether it's to embrace something, let go of it, step into it, create it, what can this make possible for you? What doors does this open up for you when we're going to take you forward for a moment into that possibility. And what can this make possible for you when you're experiencing what your heart wants for you? Really let that play out. What can it make possible for you? What are you going to be doing differently, feeling differently, experiencing? And what are you going to be contributing and shifting in the collective as you are that new possibility? This is a very important question. So tune back into your heart. I know you're in there, but we're going to go a little deeper. And we're going to get super real with yourself. If I tell myself the truth, what's holding me back? What's in my way? What is stopping me from this greater possibility, what my heart wants for me, what my soul is calling me to? What's holding me back? What am I perceiving as that roadblock? And just let that come up. That's great information for you. There's nothing you need to be afraid of right now. Awareness precedes change. We just need to bring it into your awareness. Tell yourself the truth, because from here we can make some new choices. So honoring yourself for where you are and being ever so truthful with yourself and noticing just how good it feels to get squeaky clean with yourself. We talked about that inspired action earlier. And just in this quick process today, I want you to know that you can open up to the next step for yourself. The pivotal question to inspire you for that next action is, Let this go to your heart. And some of you need to come back down to your heart. Don't let this go to your head. What's one inspired action I could take that will support me in moving past this block? What's just one inspired action I can take that'll support me in overcoming this, which I perceive is in my way? Take a deep breath with that. You just need to know the next step. Then, of course, you need to take it. What your heart wants for you is so important. That's your soul. That's that greater part of you that can see such a big, overarching plan for you. It's your soul blueprint, and you can tap into it. You're sensing it, you're feeling it. And I understand it feels like maybe a big job to live up to it right now, but we're holding the energy for you to give you the support, the fortitude to just take the next step. So take a deep, full breath. I want you to wrap your inner arms around yourself and just love yourself up for coming home to heart, for telling yourself the truth, and for committing to just taking that next step forward. All right. Deep, full breath. It's been my honor to serve you. We'll close here, and blessed be.